Good morning and welcome to the fifth quarter AZ. Bright sunny morning in Flagstaff, Arizona. Man, it's a nice day. Flagstaff at its best. And of course, we cannot be at our best on the fifth quarter without bringing in the guy that runs things in Flagstaff. I mean, he's the head over recreation. The man is the head at Flag High. The man is a new grandpa. The man is out here coaching. He's doing flag football. He's doing basketball. He doing everything. And the number one thing he doing, he getting on my nerves early this morning. But it don't matter because I'm going to bring out my guy, the coach, Mr. Tyrone Johnson. How you doing, man?
Coach, I'm great, man. I'm great. Look, it's a Friday. You know what I'm saying? I'm back on the show, man. I've been absent for a minute, so
You've been
I'm
you've been
back.
gone. You've been gone for a couple weeks, man. What's wrong, man? Was you sick? Was you working?
First off, I don't believe in sickness. I don't get sick. But sometimes what I'll do, I'll try it out just to see what all the fuss is about. And I tried it out for about a week, man.
About you tried out being sick?
Yeah, I tried it out for a week. I ain't like it, man. So I'm gonna go back to not being sick, man. I don't know why people choose to, you know what I'm saying, do that type of stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and not be sick. And then after that, man, sometimes work just get in the way. You know what I mean? Oh, you don't know nothing about that no more. So so you always good.
That's very true, man. It's nice to work when you want to, but and when Crystal tell me to be there. But but anyway, man, yeah, it's nice to have you back. You've been gone a couple weeks. I know you've been busy. I know you was a little sick. Um, I know that's one of your big things is you just got to be more mentally tough than the sickness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you just said that you're gonna let your guard down and see how you handle adversity a little bit.
That's it, man. You know what I mean? Because everybody be talking about the allergies and the seasons and all that type of stuff. So I went ahead and let my guard down and my sinuses started acting up a little bit. And so I just said I might as well just see what this is all about. And so I let it act up fully, man. And it wasn't no good. I ain't like it.
You didn't like it? No, I could tell when you walked in the rec center the way you were looking, you didn't like it. But but that's all right, man. Hey, you know what? It is those seasons, so everybody, you know, get that allergy medicine, get whatever you need to do, stay inside, or just no, don't stay inside. Go out there and have a good time and just keep moving and you're gonna be all right. So hey, man, we got a good
Absolutely.
guest here today. And it's a guy I think we've known for a while. He's always smiling. He's always having a good time. And you want to bring him out or you want me to bring him out?
Keep going, coach. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Hey, this man has put AYSO on the map. He's the regional commissioner. He's got big things planned here in Flagstaff and for the region that he's going to tell us about. And that's my guy, Mr. Jacob Garcia. Good morning, Jacob. How you doing, man?
Hey,
See, I told you.
good morning, good morning, and it's amazing and it's a blessing to be here. Geez, Tyrone with all the accolades, Danny. Geez, if you would have kept on going, he's the head of everything.
Hey,
Hey,
hey, the only thing he ain't the boss of is me. But somebody need to tell him that because he think he can talk to people, just
This is
senior
true.
citizens, basically. He think he can talk to senior citizens.
no, I'm not the boss of him, but depending on the time of the year, I am his boss. So he just need to make sure that he don't go insubordinate just because we on this show.
Well, you guys do. You guys both do a good job of keeping each other in line. So keep it up.
I appreciate that, man. Well, Jacob, welcome to the show, man. And like I said, Coach Johnson and I know you pretty well. We've known you for a while. But for the 2 or 3 people out of the millions out there watching that don't know you, hey, give us a little information about growing up, sports you played, and just what it was like from childhood to where you are now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I'm born and raised here in Flagstaff, um, and went through um, a lot of different elementary schools. We moved around a little bit here in town, and so we had went to I went to Cromer, Sechrist, Weitzel. This is back, we're talking 80s, right? So I might be dating myself a little bit. But went to East Flag Junior High, and then graduated from Coconino High School in 1998. So definitely, my sport growing up was Little League baseball. So did a lot of that. Played up until like my freshman, up to about my freshman year in high school, and then kind of switched gears a little bit. And so from a sports standpoint, that's kind of where I kind of where I landed when I started to get older, and this is when I started to get a little bit more involved in that city rec sports. Did the co-ed volleyball and all those kind of things, and um, yeah, lived here all my life, and I think moving around and being able to go to the different elementaries and whatnot, I got a amazing opportunity to look to get to make friends all across Flagstaff, and I think that was huge for me. So when we were going into high school, um, there's those rivalries, right? Flag High, Cocoa, and at that time Sanawa,
Now,
and they were healthy rivalries. And the amazing part is I had best friends in all three schools, and that's something that has been amazing, is being able to just know people across all of Flagstaff. Definitely has solidified my community mindset and making sure that I'm thinking of the community and thinking of others, and it puts a lot of pressure on me. I got to mind my p's and q's, and the more people that I know in Flagstaff, the more it keeps me in line. So that's a good thing.
That's not
that's
just
right.
a good thing, Jacob. That's a great thing, because you
Yeah.
know what I mean. Some people know a lot of people and they stay out of line, and that's why I'm here to try and bring them back in the line. But you know, speak a little bit about that in terms of just how did you get into youth sports and stuff like that? I know for me, it was pretty much once my kids got involved, I jumped involved, you know what I mean? And then once I got involved, I stayed involved. But what was your introduction into, you know, youth sports, and how and why?
Yeah, no, great question. So I have four kids, four amazing kids, and my oldest, Andrew, who's a sophomore in at Coconino High School. Um, when he was 5, we were wanting to look. We were looking for a sport to kind of get him plugged in. And interesting enough, I never played soccer growing up. Like I said, Little League baseball was kind of my sport. I always say that the extent of my soccer career was 5th grade at recess at Sechrist. So that was the extent of my soccer career. But when Andrew turned 5, we were trying to find a sport to get him into, and talking with my wife, and we landed on soccer and found AYSO, and essentially it's been all, I would say, up and downhill from there. It's started out as a volunteer coach. So AYSO is an all volunteer soccer organization, and so started out with they needed a coach, and if I wanted Andrew to play, I needed to step up as a coach. So went through some trainings, and I started out as coaching Andrew at 5U team. Basically, it's all a bunch of kids, just like a beehive, just kind of trying to run around and hit and just kick a soccer ball, and then each summer after that, it was all right. They need more volunteers. So it just kind of continued to keep going down that way. Obviously, with the next 3 kids, it progressed. And then getting all four of the kids into soccer into AYSO as well. So um, over the years, it had started to kind of progress from a volunteer standpoint, and that mindset of, if I want my kids to have an opportunity to play a sport, then I better step up and volunteer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And with that, how many hours have you spent just in terms, not even the volunteerism over the years, but what I want to know is how many hours have you spent on YouTube getting drills and stuff like that? Because say, for instance, when my daughter was playing fast pitch softball, I used to get videos and DVDs of like Jenny Finch trying to teach form, this, that, because I had no clue. How many hours you done spent?
Oh my gosh. So my son, uh, a lot of hours. Thankfully, we have amazing coaching trainings that we go through, and then I'm surrounded by other amazing volunteer coaches that grew up in the game, and they kind of geek out about the game, and so definitely leaning on them to for guidance and for support. So yeah, it's been a long journey of education for me.
Nice.
Yeah. And I, like yourself, and I'm a little bit older than you, coming up, I never knew anything about soccer. Never heard anything about it. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people playing soccer in Brennan Homes. So, just we might kick a ball, but that's because it was in our way. There wasn't a lot of soccer. And then when I started working at the rec center and doing youth basketball kind of blew up. Was blessed to have it just really grow. And they say, you got a great program. It's the second biggest program in the city. I'm like, second? They're like, yeah, soccer's number one. I'm like, where did soccer come from? And where we had 12 to 15 people, participants, 12 to 1,500, soccer had like 2,000, 2,500. Where are you at right now as far as participants?
Man, those were amazing years. AYSO Region 257, so that's Flagstaff. That's Flagstaff, Grand Canyon, and Williams. And we first started in 1980. February of 1980 is when AYSO Region 257 was born here in Flagstaff. And so, man, the heyday of that would have been an amazing sight to see. We've been doing uh, prior to COVID. I want to say we were in the above the 1,000 range. Like I want to say 1,200, 1,300. I want to say. COVID hit, and you guys know the story on that, and it went down to some drastic numbers of about 400. So we were able to thankfully still able to maneuver through that time, but we are back up. We have been progressing after that initial hit. We have been progressing every year, building back up the program, and we are currently at um, about 850 50 kids uh, uh, in our program right now.
So how much do you contribute to that to year-round sports now? People specialize in sports doing other things now. Competitive soccer teams. Um,
Yeah, most definitely. So we have two programs. We have our summer soccer program, and that's where Danny, that's where your grandkids are at. That's where I saw you last summer. Tyrone has been partnering with us from a Parks and Rec standpoint for quite a few years. So our summer soccer program is our biggest program, and that's where the majority of our kids, our players are at. Uh, but talking about year round, we have a club program in AYSO Region 257, and that's Flagstaff Revolution is our soccer club. And they're I would say that's or that is our travel or our club team. And we went from about 4 or 5 years ago, we went from two teams. One of them I coached, one of my son's team, and another team with Kirk Kinsey as the head coach for that team. And we have grown our club side from 2 to, I think, this season we had 13 teams, and that's ages what kids that were born in like 2014 all the way up to 2009, and that has helped out tremendously from a soccer uh, from a soccer organizations here in Flagstaff, right? So to be able to go and do that, that's been phenomenal, and we're highly competitive. We do really good in a lot of we'll travel to a lot of tournaments and win tournaments or place in the high rankings, first, second place. We're doing leagues and stuff like that. We'll travel down to Phoenix and play that. So uh, I would say soccer overall has, with the addition of this really heightened focus of club teams, has grown tremendously, and has essentially grown our region quite a bit.
Yeah. And Jacob, like you say, I've worked with you on the Parks and Rec side. So look, I can fact find, I can verify them numbers. You were about 1,200. You were before the pandemic. You were, and then like you say, since then, just building it back up. But there are other organizations here in town that run and stuff like that. But I do want to talk more on your recreational side as opposed to your club side, because that's where you impact a lot of the community. Yes. Yeah. Your fees are reasonable. You have, like you say, from the little ones on up. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about just the summer program for AYSO and, the levels that you guys have and the coaches that you have need. Just give us the whole thing about your summer program that's coming up.
Yeah, absolutely, and I appreciate that. So we're just kind of wrapping up the registration process, and so pretty soon we're going to start putting teams together. The registration, we start registration in January with an early bird special for fees and whatnot, and it's about $75, and then regular registration is about we're at like $110, and that's 8 weeks of soccer every Saturday. That's practices during the week. That's uniforms. That's every player gets every player gets a uniform, shorts, socks, and then we're out at Fox Glen every Saturday. So if you want to see a mass amount of kids playing soccer, and you guys have both experienced it, come out to Fox Glen between June and August. First week of June and the first week of August. Come to Fox Glen, and you're going to see a couple thousand people just soccer all day long. That's parents, grandparents, kids playing, obviously the kids playing and whatnot. Ages are, we do a 5U, so 5-year-olds all the way up to we got a couple of new programs. Danny, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is your show.
I thought you were putting your hand up. I was like, yes, you may speak.
Thank you.
Hey, that's that age we talk about. Sometimes he can't control his muscles now. That's all.
Oh, man. We got so up until I believe 17-year-olds, and we got a couple of new programs we're excited to roll out for this summer. But uh, so that's the age group. We we try to keep our fees down at as low as possible. Obviously, there's scholarships. We don't want to turn away any kids, so we if they can't play because of funds, then we better make sure that we can take care of that, because we want to make sure that kids um, are out there playing soccer. So
Yeah.
let's see. We got uh, we're excited about kind of two new programs, if you will, within summer soccer. Usually, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, our 5U and 6U. So we're talking like 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds. That uh, um, where usually it's so brand new to soccer that it is just this beehive of players and just trying to get the ball, with a few that are picking flowers, or in their own little world doing cartwheels or whatever the case may be. So
Yeah.
we're excited to roll out, it's called Fanino, and I'm just now learning about it. But what it does is it's a type of style of soccer that uh, encourages the kids to spread out over the field, so they're not so there's a couple of extra goals on each side. And essentially it's developing those early soccer skills, but still making it fun, still making it um, a good time with the littles.
And that's
um,
pretty cool, because with the littles, you typically don't have goalies. It's just an open goal, because like you say, they got the little
correct.
beehive, everybody just going, and so you don't have goals, you don't have anybody protecting the net. And so if you have multiple opportunities for them to score at, I can see how that could open it up a little bit and be more beneficial in terms of
Yep.
the learning, the space, and everything else. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're super excited to really be intentional with the littles. Year over year, it's our coaches are all parents and volunteers, right? Um, it's pretty basic soccer at that age, where it's just, here's the ball, let's pass it, let's kick it, let's dribble, let's those things. But turning it into a fun game and spreading them out, I think is we're just wanting to be more intentional with developing our littles at an earlier age.
And
um,
Jacob, before Coach Neil jump in next
yeah.
question, when you talk about dribble, he's used to basketball. You know what I mean? Because you explain what you mean.
Talking about.
Could you explain what you mean with dribble with soccer?
Same concept, just with your feet.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah. Oh,
Jacob.
might I add, no hands in soccer.
Okay. See what I told you earlier, Jacob?
Yeah.
You talking about the littles and using the goals to get them to do spacing. Coach, maybe we need to put basketball hoops in different areas on the basketball court so our girls can space the floor like they supposed to. But see, but Jacob, do you find just being in basketball for a long time with the
Yeah.
youth, do you find that maybe not so much the 5 and 6-year-olds, but up their talent and skill level for maybe a 4th and 5th grader is probably what a 7th and 8th graders was 5-10 years ago?
Yeah. So I think that I would say they definitely get they definitely get more intense at an earlier age. So if they're going to be, you start to see those kids that are either have been in soccer, or World Cup's going to be coming up here in in 2 years, I think. And soccer is just becoming,
Right.
in the US, it's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and
Right.
bigger, right? We're kind of slowly catching up to the rest of the world, right? But so with that, I think to your question, I think that the younger they are, the more intense, they're into the training. They geek out about soccer. They're looking at all the superstars. They want to be like them, you know. So I see them progressing a lot faster at the earlier age. And I think us being more intentional with the littles is only going to propel that even
Right.
like exponentially. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And then, you know, as these kids are participating in your sports, how important is it for them to say just on the recreational segment again?
Mhm.
Once they leave soccer, is it important for them to join something else to continue like the motor skill development, or what's your thoughts once they're done with recreational soccer? Should they be focusing on in the fall, be it flag football, volleyball, so on and so forth? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So could be a controversial topic in the sense of there's some folks that are you pick that sport and you stay with that sport and you develop in that sport solely, right? And don't go anywhere else. Um uh and then the others are where it's, hey, it's good to switch it up. I um and maybe controversial is a little bit of a heavy word, and it's not necessarily, but there's definitely two camps, right? I think that if a player is good and is uh, if they're just a superstar and they're just that they you guys know when you've coached a player and it just clicks and they are just phenomenal. um I have a hard time encouraging them going to another sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but at the same time, I think it is healthy to try different things, right?
Right.
You know, so I had so we my kids, four kids, all in soccer, and that's just kind of the direction that we've gone. Now that my two older ones, Sydney and Andrew, both at Coconino, sophomore and freshman, since they've gotten into high school, they're exploring other sports. So Sydney's doing track, which to me, I think it's amazing. It's off season, right? It's outside of the
Yep.
soccer season. All it is going to do is just continuing conditioning and
Right.
keeping her on point, right? So I think I'm super excited about that. Andrew is exploring soccer. They both of them played for Coconino's soccer program. Andrew is exploring football. Like that's but I can wrap my head around track, right? Running, but Andrew going to football. But at the same time, knowing that he really excels in both of them really excel in soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Football is going to be amazing for Andrew. Again, conditioning,
Right.
from a conditioning standpoint, weights. They're getting ready to Coconino's getting ready to start
Mhm.
spring football, and so it's like I think uh, I think I could go both ways. I do get a little bit nervous from a parent standpoint, knowing that their sport for Andrew and Sydney, their sport is soccer. They do really good in soccer. I do get a little nervous when they're doing other sports just from an injury standpoint, and I
Right.
and I'd hate for them to jeopardize that. So it's like it's definitely a balance, and I want to make sure that if my kids are wanting to try something different, then I definitely want to encourage that. And so yeah,
and
but
and how
there's
do
some
you
hesitation sometimes. So
right.
Understood.
How do you separate being a coach and being a parent?
oh, this is a great so I'm coaching Thomas. He's my third. It's the 2011s, so he's 12 years old, and I've taken on head coaching his travel team. or his club team, sorry. And he's my third child. So if you guys know anything about the third kid or the middle child, he definitely tests my patience, right? So if I would say I'm a yeller as a coach from the sideline, partly because they're on a field and I want them to hear me, not because, and I always have to remind the players, like, hey, I'm yelling at you guys, but I love you guys. So it's all in love. I'm not mad or anything.
Right.
But sometimes Thomas definitely tries my patience, and I have to be, I find myself wearing the dad hat when he's not doing what I think he's capable of doing. So what I do is I've been very intentional. I started this with Andrew because I coached Andrew. Is I have amazing assistant coaches, and I am aware of my sometimes my inability to separate the two, coach and dad. So I have intentional conversations with my assistant coaches. I identify one of the assistant coaches that if one of my kids is not doing what I think they should be doing to their potential and whatnot, I just look to them and I'll be like, Coach Matt or Coach Tad, like you got, take care of Thomas for me. Like, if I start to see like he's lagging or like he needs to, and I'm trying to give him some encouragement and it's just not clicking, then I definitely, I reach, I make sure that I'm having another one of my other coaches taking care of that. So I've been learning more and more to be more intentional to be able to separate that. So
Any
that's
advice,
on the
Coach?
field. Yeah.
Yeah. Any
Yes,
advice,
please.
Coach Johnson?
Now, I think, really, honestly, the only advice I would have is when you're actually on the field, and I don't know if he does or not, don't allow him to call you dad. He has to call you coach,
Right.
so on and so forth. You know what I mean? You really separate the line of dad, son when you're out there with everybody and you're actually coaching, because you want him to look at you as a coach, and then you as the adult, when you do start feeling that way because he has more, I think you got some good safety nets in place to where you can go to your assistant coaches and stuff like that, because you don't never want his experience to be jeopardized because you're dad and not coach.
Yeah.
Would you bench him behind something he did at the house?
Jacob, you don't have to answer that question, man. That's
I wouldn't.
That's a trap.
I wouldn't. What I run into is like we just went to a tournament, and we always tell the kids bring your home jersey and your away jersey. Bring both of them, because just when we think we're going to be wearing yellow, we show up and the other team is wearing yellow. So then now we have to put on our blue, right? So on and so forth.
Right.
So I just had a conversation with my son and was like, hey, make sure you have both in your backpack. You sure? You double check? Sure? Yes. We get to the field. He doesn't have the one that we need. And I am like, as a dad and a coach, well, I think in that point, I was more dad mode.
I was going to say, that's dad mode.
I definitely had some strong conversation with him in the car prior to. But again, that's this balance of like, now I'm going onto the field and I'm a little bit annoyed here as from a dad standpoint, and it's taken me in. So I've been really working on how to better balance that out, right? And that's just fatherhood, right? How to continue to be an amazing dad, right? And then that's just being a coach, right? How do you continue to work on being an amazing coach?
Right.
So.
Well, I'm not going to ask for coach's advice on that one, because he didn't handle it well. I'm just telling you.
Jacob, we won the game in the end, so that's all that really mattered at that point in time. So
hey, I'm not gonna lie. If we're winning, we're doing good.
It was a flag eye Coconino game, important game, and he gonna bench his daughter. And I had a problem with it. I really did. Ask his assistant coach. Don't ask me nothing. Ask me when I can put her in the game. Right now, that's weird. But anyway.
Did you have great follow-up conversation after the game?
No. Did he
Uh,
did he have with
Tyrone,
his daughter?
yes,
Hey,
Tyrone with your daughter.
he wasn't in my house, so he don't know. But yeah, no. No, we definitely had great follow-up question. And more so, I guess at that point in time, it was more so being a father, more so a protector mode because of what she was going through. It's like, well, I'm not going to put you on the floor if you're going through that. You know what I mean? And so that was more so. But
Wait, I find that out
all he
later.
wanted is a win. All he wanted to do was beat Coco. I had to think about my daughter's psyche and everything else.
Hey, you can, when it comes to that game, you can't fault Danny. Right?
Right.
Like,
right. He know better. He old enough.
That's a big game. So
right. And he can't say he followed up. Because Zilly was just on the show 2 weeks ago and we was talking about this, and she was like, I didn't know that happened.
Well, and that speaks to the beauty of our players, right? And our kids for both, right? Like stuff just like in the moment things are happening, but they're resilient, right? They just it's like water off a duck's back. They just but as a coach, dad, right? Like that stuff eats me alive when I just ripped into Thomas in the truck and then I got to go right into the game afterwards. He's like, okay, Dad, can we go get ice cream? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And you still like me?
And I'm like, I'm the worst dad ever, right? Kids are amazing. They pull out the amazingness in us, and they also pull out the ugliness, right? And then it brings it out to the service so that we can then get better as dads and coaches and so.
Absolutely. So Jacob, you mentioned your assistant coaches, volunteers. If somebody was interested in helping out or coaching, volunteering for AYSO, one, what would they need to do? And then two, what type of trainings do you take them through as safeguards? Do you use like safe sports, all that good stuff?
Yeah, great question. So AYSO AYSO257.org. That's where we do all our volunteer registration, our player registration. So if you wanted to just volunteer as a coach, then you can just go to that website and register as a volunteer. We have plenty of opportunities to volunteer. That's volunteer as a coach, volunteer as a ref, volunteer as a board member, volunteer. There's so many things that we need help with. So I would definitely start there. Obviously, they could email us at AYSO Flagstaff 2257 @gmail.com and inquire there. Let's see, what was the other part of that question?
And then just like the training coaches have to go through and all that.
So from a training standpoint, safe sport that they have to go, concussion training. There's a lot of other different types of kind of safety type trainings that we do. That's pretty much a national standard for any volunteer coaching or just adult volunteering in a sports program. There is a we do the background checks, so make sure that we have the right people volunteering, and and everything. All the trainings are geared towards making sure that our kids are safe. And then from a coach's training, depending on which age group that they're going to be volunteering for from a coaching standpoint, there's AYSO provides great training curriculums that the coaches go through. We have an in-person coaching training. If I may, we get a lot of we have a huge youth referee program, and I know that referees, umpires, that's there's a huge shortage, and we all know why, right? We got people we have adults not being amazing to our referees and our umpires and whatnot. And so we have an amazing group of young people that have stepped up to volunteer. All of them are players as well. They play in the summer. They play in in our club season. But they volunteer as youth reps. So we have a huge. I would say that we average about 40 youth refs um, for the summer, for our summer season. And
Nice.
essentially, our youth reps are why we are so successful. Without our youth reps, we have about five amazing adult referees that come back every year. Uh, and like I said, they're amazing. With only if we only had those five, man, it we would be hurting. So you can definitely sign up as a referee. We have youth refs. We do a in-person referee course to get them up to speed, and so yeah.
Nice.
That's all right.
Nice.
Well, if you ever run out of reps and just need some help, I'll volunteer Coach Johnson. He can come out there and help.
Love it, love it.
Actually, I was thinking that's a great thing for some retired people to do, to really volunteer their time, give back to the kids, right?
Oh,
No,
most
not
definitely.
at all. Not at all. But hey, you were saying that you had some amazing things happening with the ASYO Flagstaff and regionally. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So uh, I kind of touched on a little bit with our littles, our 8U, 6U, 5U players. With this new program we're running out for Fanino, just a different way of getting them more involved and developing them at an early age. The other part is um, we tend to find our older players, so those that are getting to the freshman, sophomore, junior year in high school,
Mm-hmm.
once they hit their freshman year, we tend to have a what they call what I've heard it called is just like aging out of the
Right.
summer soccer
Mm-hmm.
program.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we have our club side of things and whatnot, but from a summer soccer, um, we tend to have small numbers, and it's just not feasible to put together a good 8 week program for such small numbers. So we've
Mm-hmm.
been trying to figure out how do we keep those older players engaged during summer. And so we're going to be doing it's an 18U program, so it's 17, 16 uh, um, players. We're going to do it's called a Wednesday Night Lights every Wednesday. So during the summer season, every Wednesday, we're going to do short-sided games. So like 5v5, it'll be over at Coconino High School under the lights. And we'll mix up the team. So all the players will show up. We'll mix up. It's going to be co-ed, and it's just going to be light and fun and having and at that age
Right.
group. They're going to be it's competitive, but not too competitive. It brings a good balance when you start mixing it all up,
Right.
making it co-ed. We have players that have never played before, so that'll be awesome, and then
Mm-hmm.
players that are playing at the high school level, right? So we're excited about that. At the end of the summer, we're going to do a round robin type tournament, have prizes, and just different stuff like that. So we're super excited about that, and it's going to keep our older players more engaged and touching the ball throughout the summer. So really excited about that.
Well,
Um,
that's all right. Oh, did
yeah.
you have something else?
Well, the other exciting thing is, I mean, it's all exciting, but is we got sponsors. So two things: sponsors. So we have gotten NAU is one of our sponsors for our summer program, which is amazing
Mm-hmm.
and huge for us to be able to partner with NAU. Our players will be the ball girls or ball boys during the NAU soccer season at their games and whatnot. And so it's exciting to have that partnership. And then K4 Marketing is another one of our sponsors. So we're excited to have them. They're going to be handling all of our like social media type stuff for the summer. So we're excited about that. And then we're just in need for more sponsorship, right? Kind of going back to Tyrone's question about keeping the prices or the
Right.
registration fees down. Our sponsors are what allow us or afford us to be able to do that. And then the as far as Flagstaff as a whole, like the just soccer and Flagstaff, we've been really intentional. AYSO Region 257 has been very intentional in giving back to the community. The past 2 years, 2.5 years, and some of those ways that we've been doing it is FUSD. We lean heavily on FUSD and the city for our fields and our gym space. And so one of the ways that we can kind of give back and support is by sponsoring, financially sponsoring the high school soccer programs. So we were able to do that, both the boys and girls. We've been able to give back to the MPA program. We've been able to provide uniforms for up and coming uh, soccer programs, from the school side of things. Um, we're going to be purchasing new goals for Cromer Elementary. Cromer Elementary has an amazing artificial turf soccer field out there that we utilize, and so we're going to be getting them some new goals. We're super excited about that. So just
Great.
lots of great opportunities for us, our organization, to partner and kind of
Good back.
give back. So lots
That's
of exciting
awesome,
stuff.
man.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, it's about that time in the show
Yep.
where you asked us to impart a little knowledge on you, or for you to impart a little knowledge on us and to the millions of people out there watching the show. Right? And we do that by way of our da 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 Coach Johnson's golden nugget question of the day.
Woo!
Get him, Coach.
All right.
All right.
Bring it.
All right, Jacob. So I'm gonna keep it more just obviously AYSO related. And first off, I want to say what a great job you guys do as an organization and everything, and what you do for the kids in the community and introducing them to the sport, and then as
Thank
you
you.
take them on up through club. Golden Nugget question of the day would be more so, what takeaway do you want the kids to have after participating in your program?
Jeez. Apart from the obvious, right? Just being a love for the game and developing skills wise and whatnot. Apart from that, I think community is what I would want to what I would hope that a sense of community is what I would hope they would take away from our program. The uh, there's lots of uh, there's lots of soccer in Flagstaff is such a huge sport. To your guys' point earlier, it's growing. There's a number of other soccer organizations here in Flagstaff, and I would love for our kids to take away that sense of community, to be able to have a great competitiveness, but knowing that community is huge. Being good people are huge is a huge thing. Um, Connecting with people, being kind, uh, helping each other out. Um, we have. I've experienced a lot of as the kids get older and they do start to kind of age out of our summer program. Um, I'll have players reach out for recommendations, writing job recommendations, and or letters, letters for they're getting ready to do National Honor Society, and they're leaning on us. And to me, I think them recognizing that they have a strong community around them, no matter what soccer organization is with them, no matter what school they're going to, whatever sports they start jumping into, whatever job they go to, and all that. That community, being having that sense of community and being able to support each other and willing to support each other, I think that would be huge. Does that make sense?
That
Yes,
does,
it
man.
does.
I think that's real awesome, and I think it shows kind of your background, like you were saying at the beginning of the show, where you got to move around from school to school
Yeah.
to school, and you had the chance to build a community, to build some friendships, to have best friends at all the high schools, and so you putting that into the kids now as they're playing with different people and they're going through it and having that sense of community, man. That's just awesome, and definitely appreciate everything that y'all are doing.
Yeah, no, totally. They'll be on a club team, the same team, but then when they go into high school, they're playing at Flag High, and some are on Flag High and some are at Coconino. And I think our kids are amazing at being able to uh, uh, identify with certain teams or organizations or whatever they may be, at the same time be able to mesh and like no problems, right? And our kids are amazing, and I want them to continue that, to grow that. So yeah.
That's right. Well, Jacob, it's been great having you on the show, man. As someone who's kind of watched you grow up, I'm just really proud of you and what you're doing. You keep doing what you're doing for the community. When I was first learning about soccer, and you're talking about the parents and everything, one of the first things, just reading articles on soccer, it was about the soccer fans, and they were the worst fans in sports. But through my grandkids playing and stuff, you guys have an amazing program. I don't see the parents here in Flagstaff acting like that at all.
Yeah.
They're very respectful to the refs, to everybody, and that's due to the culture that you guys have created. So kudos to you, kudos to the parents, kudos to the parents who make all this possible.
Yeah.
And just thank you for being on the show, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate your time this morning. And then again, if people want to check you out, give them one more time, give them the website while you registering.
Yes, absolutely. So if you go to www.ayso257.org, you can register your players, you can register to volunteer. And then we have a Facebook is AYSO Flagstaff Soccer. And then our email address is aysoflagstaff257@gmail.com.
All right, my man. We definitely appreciate you. Best of luck this year with everything. And thanks again for coming out and being on the show this morning.
No, I appreciate you both. Yeah.
Hey, Jacob, good job. That stuff you wrote on that other screen worked for you, huh?
Yes, it did. Hey, I'm getting older. I need notes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Because then my wife and all my board members and my other folks that I lean on, they're gonna be like, well, why didn't you say this?
Hey, Jacob, continue to do what you're doing, man. We appreciate you. And hey, go soccer.
Yeah, come check us out at Fox Glen over the summer if you want to see some amazing soccer. So
I'll be there.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, now,
Coach. Hey, man, it's been another great show. And man, you look at it, and man, it's been 2 years, man.
That's crazy, right? 2 years.
2 years, man. We did over 100 shows. We've had great guests and things like that, man. But it comes to a point where, because of things happening with everybody involved in the show, with time commitments and stuff, I think today we announced that next week will be our last show for the 5th quarter. There'll be some changes made, possibilities of other things happening, but as of next week, the fifth quarter will be ending. It's been a great run. Like I said, it's been 2 years, man. We've had great guests. We done been ourselves and acted a fool and had fun, man. But I have to thank Aaron Jinkarella and Tommy Hernandez and Russell Woods and Michelle Benedict and Jackie Jinkarella and Katie Blankenshrider and of course yourself, man, because y'all know this is a dream I done had for like 7, 8 years, man, to do this show. And you was always on board, man. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. And if what then Aaron came around, and so just want to thank everybody for the support we had. We'll be back for one more show next week, and that will be our last show. So thank you everybody for supporting us, and we'll see them next week, huh, Coach?
Yeah, we'll definitely see him next week. And we thank you as well for just being yourself and giving us some memorable moments from, the first time you got on the show looking like a bomb to how you are right now, man, looking good and professional and everything else. So we definitely appreciate it. But we'll say the sentiments for next week. We'll keep the tears this week. And look,
that's
man.
Right.
Look, man, we're gonna let everybody get on with their day, though. You know what I mean? And
that's right.
Everybody be ready. Tune in for the last show next week. But in the meantime, in between time, I don't know what y'all got to do today. Hope you have a great but I do know one thing. You ain't got to go home.
But you got to leave here. Peace. Hit that like button, that subscribe button. Let us show us some love.